Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? How are we feeling? You know what? There's been some news lately with the 49ers, according to a lot of people with their coaching searches. There's a lot of coaches out there. I know I haven't been live lately. Sorry about that. Just been trying to work more with my other stuff. So, it's unfortunate. Sometimes you got to go work and you miss things. You're not able to go live. But here we are. We're live. And I want to talk about it. We have 3 news stories for the 49ers and their coaching jobs at the moment. So, let's see. They got the big story of the day. As you know, Robert Salah, according to Matt Barrows on the Tim Kawakami podcast, is basically being handed a lucrative contract. The highest paid defensive coordinator in all the land is what Matt Barrows says. Now, how much that is, we don't know. I mean, obviously, defensive coordinator money is not head coach money. But if you make it a very lucrative contract, it can rival what a big, coaching contract can be. So that's what the 49ers are basically doing. They said, the deal is done. They got it set. The contract is there. It's just up to Robert Salah to make the move. And I know he's got a lot of head coaching opportunities right now. The Jaguars, the Raiders, the Cowboys. Those are 3 teams that have been really trying to get Robert Salah, or at least interviewing him. Now, are they serious in hiring him? We don't know. But I'm sure that he's talking to him. And maybe Salah knows, okay, look, I'm using this as leverage. In either case, the 49ers or these other teams. Either way, Robert Salah is going to be very handsomely paid. He's getting paid from the Jets as well. He was their head coach. So I don't think money's an issue for Robert Salah, but you do have to have good compensation. And I also wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers basically make this Robert Salah defensive coordinator move more of like an assistant coach, also to help Shanahan, and be the assistant in terms of, doing more game planning, because he's been a head coach. So it's also a good opportunity. If Robert Salah takes the defensive coordinator job with the 49ers, you would imagine that job can also parlay to being a head coach again, because if I'm Robert Salah, I'm not just going to not want to be a head coach again, right? I'm sure he wants to, down the line, prove that he's a good head coach, because a lot of people says he wasn't a great head coach with the Jets, didn't make the playoffs. He had great defenses, but he couldn't crack the playoffs with the offensive struggles. But this could give him another opportunity. He can showcase himself as a defense coordinator, rebuild the 49ers defense, make them great again, maybe get them to a Super Bowl. If you win it, oh my God, I mean, the sky's the limit and everybody will love you. And then you can go get a head coaching job. Also, I think it can help pull Jeff Ulbrich, because he has ties to Salah. He was a guy that the Niners wanted last year. Maybe you get him on the staff. And then if Salah leaves, you can promote Jeff Ulbrich to defensive coordinator position. So you got to think long-term. It's long-term, not just here and now. Of course, we all want Robert Salah now, but we also got to think about the future. Because if Salah does great, I mean, he might leave again, and you get some compensatory picks, and then who's going to be your defensive coordinator? So it could be Jeff Ulbrich. But that's just thinking long-term. It's interesting, though, because everybody wants Robert Salah as the defensive coordinator. If you're a 49ers fan, I know I do. I think he knows the system. I think he could bring in his mentality again and just the energy. That's what they missed. Players like Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, they would love it. They would get their guy back, and it's not like you have to reteach anything. And he knows the system. If you're going to run that wide nine, I mean, Salah knows it, and he's a great defensive coordinator. So we'll see. Couple other news drops of the day. Brian Griese, the 49ers quarterback coach, this one was great news this morning. He basically turned down the Jets head coaching interview request. So if you remember a week ago or so, the Jets, they requested to interview Brian Griese for their head coaching vacancy. And if you look at the Jets, they've pretty much interviewed. I mean, they've interviewed so many people. Every time I look on Twitter, it's the Jets have interviewed. The Jets have interviewed. They've interviewed. They probably have an interview. Hold on, let me check my schedule. I have an interview with the New York Jets for their head coaching vacancy. Brian Griese's like, look, I'm not a sucker. I don't want to sit here and waste my time, because you're probably not going to hire me. There's a lot of candidates. I'm not going to waste my time with the poverty franchise. He would be dumb to take that job. So Brian Griese says, nope, sticking with the Niners. I'm going to be their QB coach, because he probably has a lot of good opportunities with the Niners. When they lose coaches every year, being poached or whatever, he could move up. Eventually, he could become a coordinator, offensive coordinator or something. Or he might become even bigger role somewhere else. I'm sure that at some point down the line, Brian Griese would get another opportunity somewhere. So he said, F you Jets, we gone. I'm staying put with the Niners. So that was great news. I love that. Julius Calloway says, Salah as defense coordinator will give Shanahan less gray hairs. I'm pretty sure it would, because he knows it. He doesn't have to worry about it. He doesn't have to hold his hand. Robert Salah would have the defense, and he'd just take care of it. So I agree. Now, another big topic that came up today, this was recently as well, according to Matt Barrows. Matt Barrows was on the Tim Kawakami podcast. That's where he dropped a lot of this news. I've heard this through the grapevine as well. But Nick Sorensen is reportedly the front runner for the 49ers vacant special teams job. Now, I'm sure most Niner fans don't want Nick Sorensen anywhere near their football team, but Kyle Shanahan isn't most Niner fans. He loves Nick Sorensen. He says he wants to keep him on the payroll, on the coaching staff. And according to Matt Barrows, Nick Sorensen is the front runner for the vacant special teams coordinator job. Now, they have had some interviews with some other candidates. Let's take a look at those. As you know, refresh your memory. It's interesting because Nick Sorensen definitely was not a good defensive coordinator, but Shanahan values him. And it's just one of those things. I think Shanahan doesn't want to lose people. He doesn't like to burn bridges. But according to the article or the podcast, according to what Matt Barrows said, is they want to bring him back. They've interviewed Lions assistant special teams coordinator Jet Modkins and Broncos assistant special teams coordinator Chris Banjo and former Carolina Panthers interim head coach and special teams coordinator Chris Tabor. So they've interviewed like tons of people for the special teams position, So again, you have Jet Modkins, you have Chris Banjo, you have Chris Tabor. All these guys have been interviewed for their special teams coordinator position, and the 49ers are apparently, according to this report, with Nick Sorensen as the go-to guy at special teams coordinator. I don't know. I just think that he may not be a good coach, but Kyle is so loyal to certain players and coaches that he wants to keep them around. Like, I get it. You don't want to turn the knife on your friend's back, but if he's not a good coach, you got to let him go. I don't know, but that's my take on it. I know you guys probably don't like Nick Sorensen. I just thought he did a bad job, and it's time for him to go because it's also going to be awkward. You keep him around. Okay, you didn't do good at this job. Let's give you another job that you might be good at. I don't know. I feel like it'd be a little awkward, but hey, what do I know? Robert Salah, he's coming back. So why don't you bring back, Nick Sorensen? Maybe that's what Kyle's thinking is. He likes his guys. I know he doesn't like to get rid of players and coaches, and he takes it personal. Sometimes you have to lose players and coaches and whatnot, but I'm sure he would love to keep everybody. And now he has an opportunity to keep Nick Sorensen, and he's going to possibly do it. So we'll see. But as of now, Nick Sorensen is the front runner for the special teams coordinator job. So it is. David says the coaching staff is Shanahan and friends. It is. David also said Vic Fangio did it. Why not Salah? Why not? Right? You can go back to your old team. You know what? It's not like it's pity. It's not like it's bad. It's just sometimes things don't work out. You go back to your old employer. I've done it in jobs. You go somewhere, you branch out, you test the waters. It doesn't always work. The grass isn't always greener on the other side because the grass is always grass on the other side. No matter what, you're going to have grass either side of the fence. And sometimes you check the grass out there. It's not great. You come back to where you were before. And that's what Robert Salah is going to do. So we'll see. Who's the highest paid defensive coordinator currently? I'm pretty sure it's Spags. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Highest paid. That's a great question. Highest paid defensive coordinator. NFL. Robert Salah, the NFL's highest, prepared to make them. Yeah. Let's see. Top 15 highest paid defensive coordinator. Let us see who the highest paid. Pretty sure it's Spags. Number 1, Vic Fangio. Oh, okay. So it's Vic Fangio. He's the highest paid defensive coordinator at $4.5 million a season. Robert Salah get more than that. Mike Zimmer is number 2. Steve Spagnuolo, he's number 3 actually at $3.5 million a year estimated compensation. So Mike Zimmer of the Cowboys was making $4 million. Fangio $4.5 million. Spags was $3.5 million. Todd Bowles $2.4 million. Aiden Durd from the Seahawks $2 million. And then there's several others tied at $1.8 million. That's Brian Flores. There's like 6 people that have that much. So if the 49ers are serious in paying Robert Salah the big bucks, it's probably going to cost them $5 million a season because you expect Vic Fangio, he's 4.5 million a year. You go for the next move up, that's $5 million. So Robert Salah, according to what we just found out, is probably getting a $5 million a season contract to be a defensive coordinator. That's not bad. Not bad, ladies and gentlemen. So give him a life sentence type contract, my boy says. We'll see. We'll see. But in any case, that's it. I just wanted to keep it short, simple. You got some news. We'll recap it real quick. Robert Salah, the 49ers are prepared to pay him the highest paid defensive coordinator position, according to Matt Barrows. Now, in addition to that report, I will say this is what he added on that. So this is what Matt Barrows actually said. The full thing, he says it's Robert Salah or bust. So this is what Barrows thinks. It's the Niners are all in. The chips are all stacked for Robert Salah, which makes sense, right? If you're going to pay him that much, that's your guy. So it's Robert Salah or bust because they haven't done much work with anybody else at this point. Now, that's the only concern is I think the Niners are really waiting to see what Salah is going to do. Now, if he takes one of these coaching jobs, then they're kind of screwed because they're like, okay, now we got to go hire or interview some more candidates, which they have interviewed a few, Brandon Staley, Deshae Townsend, but are they guys that like scream, oh man, they're going to fix the defense? No. So you're kind of missing out on some big time interviewees here while you're waiting for Robert Salah. Now, if he takes it, doesn't matter. Now, if he doesn't take your defensive coordinator job, you're going to be scrambling a little. So this is, again, it's Robert Salah or bust. They haven't done much work with anybody else at this point. I've heard that they're already told Salah will make you the highest paid defensive coordinator in the land if you sign with us. So it's just a matter of waiting for Salah. So that's pretty much how it's going. It's okay. We want him. We're all in. If you don't want us, then we're going to go back to the drawing board. And that's kind of the Niners, right? It's always boom or bust with them. They try to go for the big gusto. And then if it doesn't work, they're like scrambling for second option, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, like that. So we'll see how it goes. And then again, the other two news bites that I wanted to kind of go over today that we talked about was Brian Griese declined the Jets head coaching interview request. He said, nope, sticking with the Niners. They're trying to hire anybody, really. They've interviewed everybody under the sun. And Brian Griese says, I'm not going to be one of those guys under the sun. And then the last update that we talked about was Nick Sorensen is reportedly the front runner for the 49ers vacant special teams coordinator job. Kyle Shanahan and friends, he wants to keep Sorensen on the staff. I don't think it's great. You guys might. Maybe you keep him. Maybe he's good at special teams. I think we should move on. But in any case, you guys have a blessed rest of your day. I got a patient to go see. We'll be back. I love you. Go Niners. Make sure you hit that like button. Oh, last question by SQ. OSU or Notre Dame? Go Irish. Beat the Buckeyes. Beat them, but they probably won't. Have a great one. Take care.